Hello, I am in Florida with my good friend and mentor, Dr. Robert Morse in Port Charlotte. We have just finished level 1
that was fun.
again this year. It was a lot of fun.
That was a fun one.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
A lot of beautiful souls. And it was the largest class
Yeah, with the 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄 people and everything.
ever. Yeah. So the community is growing, which is good. And we're back here to shed a little light on some of the things that you might be wondering, and also to share what we think is going on right now with so many beautiful souls waking up and waking up to the detoxification path and the empowerment that we all have to change our lives and to get healthy.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely.
And you know, detoxification is a word that's used in the very mainstream right now, and many people are looking at it as something that they can do or buy in a box and get done. I get questions that I did that for 10 days, Hilde. I went on juice for 10 days and I still have symptoms. And, you know, bless every soul that is thinking like that, because it's only a manifestation of the society today. You know. So can we talk a little bit about the depth of what we're doing here and what, you know, cleansing really is? Because you know that I had this crazy parasite experience that we can get back to in a little while, you know, just to show you know, what we're carrying around and what this world has done to our physical body.
Absolutely. Well, this is why that I've kind of renamed our focus in terms of regenerative detoxification.
Very good.
Because the whole key, when people understand that the chemistry is the problem, their chemistry, their lifestyle, what they're eating is the problem. Man likes to take your attention off of that, so it's kind of a disempowerment. And so it puts this concept of diseases in some academically educated person's mind, when the reality is there is no such thing as diseases. That's a man-made concept. So when you realize that our physical body is just simply a food processor, and that we're processing chemistry to get to the energy of it, then we start to change the way we look at that. And we have to look at the species. You know, we've talked all about that through the years, of how man has to re-look at what type of vertebrate he is. What type of food is man's food? Because it's obvious that the food he's been eating has been killing him. It's his diet that's killing him. It's his interfacing with chemistry. The medical community has just tried to take that understanding away and give some pseudo concept of diseases, which disempowers you to think, well, I've got this problem. What is it? I don't know where it came from, and I have no power to fix it.
And I think that's the clue here, the disempowerment.
It is. It's a total it's a negative force. I hate to say that, but it's a disempowerment of the individual. And you can't do that anymore, because the genetics of the babies, you know, the genetics of the cell. So the regenerative detoxification simply means that you're changing the chemistry ingestion to fix all the chemistry byproducts that have been developing from the wrong food we've been burning. Man doesn't realize when you burn chemistry, you have chemical residues of that.
Yeah.
And man doesn't understand that chemical residues is what man has to deal with in the body. The body has to deal with all these chemical residues. Well, we simply have a lack of understanding of the two sides of chemistry. And in that lack of understanding of simply the two sides of chemistry and the type of foods that man's supposed to be eating, that's killing us.
I know. And when you say regenerative, that sheds a whole other aspect, which is the genetics.
Sure.
Because we have learned that if you have a mother that's diabetic and you get that problem, it's not really your fault and you can't do anything about it, because you're born into that line of genetics. But now we're switching that around, saying you have the power to rewrite your whole blueprint, your whole history.
And you're showing that. You're showing that one side of chemistry was decaying your body.
Yes.
Down to nothing. And you turned that around and stepped on the other side of chemistry, which is the regenerative side, the alkaline base side, and your body just unfolded like a flower.
And you know what? once you stop putting those acids in, there is no more pain.
Yeah.
Pain is only the stuck acids. And, very interesting. Even now, when I am detoxifying, because we always will be cleaning, and living in this world, there will always be some acids that needs to come out. And living on a high fruit diet, I get periods where I can feel the acids that's been pulled out to the outer layer of the tissue.
Oh, yeah.
And that is a little stiff and painful,
Oh, yeah.
And once you get that released out of your body through, filtering kidneys, and I think we need to talk a little bit about that, because some people are a little confused about the kidneys and what they do and why it is so important.
Well, they wouldn't be the only ones.
Mm-hmm.
If you take a look at it, allopathic does not understand the sewer system concept, and because of that, they've lost. They don't understand their concept of diseases they created, and all it is symptomology with a name on it. Mostly medical names from the medical doctor said, oh, look, you got pain in your shoulder, that's the Morris syndrome. Oh, and it's just what it's done is through the years, it's eluded the whole understanding of truth. And so what you have is a bunch of physicians around the world don't understand symptomology at all, thinks it's some kind of disease.
And the wording is separating because it makes you feel dumber. So
dumber, and then treating that.
Yeah.
Treating what you don't understand is a bad idea, because look at the death rates allopathically. It's in the millions.
And you can't really treat
each year.
Anything. Yeah, you can only get healthy.
Exactly. I mean, look at it. Last year's way up in the millions of deaths from allopathics, from hospitals to pharmaceuticals to medical doctors killing people. So millions. Each year, millions, more than any war.
Hard to believe.
Each year.
Yeah.
Last year, no naturopathic deaths. Year before, no naturopathic deaths. Year before, no naturopathic deaths. How many people did we save and regenerate?
Nature rocks.
Tens of thousands. So it's like when you have an antiquated system that doesn't work and nobody understands, it's time to eliminate that.
Yeah.
It is.
So the kidneys.
The kidneys.
The key.
And this is the big lack of understanding here.
As long as you get the kidneys, you really get it.
Well, you have to think, one has to realize the lymphatic system. That's the key. And the realization that they're just finding parts of it. They don't understand this system. And yet it's the body sewer system.
Yep.
How simple.
How simple.
And so when you're looking at a sewer system, you're looking at what you said earlier. How do you eliminate the waste that are building up inside from all the cells that are producing them, right? How do you get rid of metabolitic waste? Well, some people think the liver.
Yeah.
The liver detoxifies. You hear that all the time out there, the detoxifying organ of the liver. It's not a detoxifying organ, it's a chemical. So what are your eliminative organs? Well, you got stool, you got kidneys, and you got skin.
Yep.
Well, we know the stool really is primarily digestive waste.
Yep.
What about the skin and the two other kidneys?
Skin is the third kidney.
Third kidney. So,
and I can test, I can testimony to that. I spent several years on a high green diet,
You did.
all raw, all doing liver flushing, all focusing on the liver.
I didn't know that either till I read your book.
There you go. Oh, yeah, he read my book.
Yeah, I read her book. And of course, I've had Hilde for several years now, and I didn't know that some of that pathway you went through with the greens and stuff.
So I kind of did my work. I tried the other side. I mean, that's what I think is interesting. I didn't just jump on fruit and say, you have to do this because this, helped me. I tried everything. I was raw for many years before I went on the high fruit, before I learned about the lymphatic system and the kidneys, and now I can actually work my way through that by feeling it on my body. I can go deeper with the fruits. I feel the acids being pulled out. I jump on a 1-day dry fast, which turns my kidney just way open, and I can just see it. Pee in a glass, and I see that lymph coming out, and you know what happens? All the pain is gone.
Yep, and that's cool.
Like in an instant.
And why wouldn't you see
Take it out, just
pull it right out.
Pull it out,
Deposit
flush it down.
Flush it
pull
down.
it out, flush it down.
I mean, why wouldn't you see sewage in a sewer system?
Because people don't think it's a sewage.
Yeah, what is it then? What is it
well,
then?
They think maybe filtering blood.
Why would that urine not being removed from a baby's bottom burn the bottom?
Good question.
Why all those things,
Yeah.
And so you start to realize acids, you start to realize metabolitic waste, and oh my God, we have 50 to 100 trillion cells in the body, depending on who you listen to. And it's like, how does the body get rid of these? Well, medical doctors thought some of them think it just dumps all these wastes into the blood. So that would be like...
Well, that's interesting, walking around with waste in the blood.
Yeah, well, that would be like you going to your kitchen when you had to go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
And using your kitchen as your bathroom.
Yeah.
The problem is death is a result of that.
I know.
Or you see what's happened to people as a result of that kind of thinking.
Yeah.
You can't do that. Body doesn't do that. God was not stupid. But we're the ones that have to catch up with understanding simplicity. And I think we're talking about it. It's the academic mind, the intellectualism that has created this this insane road of unawareness, because the mind is just a conditioned instrument, and you have all these people that think academically that the answer's in the books. The answer's in the books, and these are people that when you write a book, it's someone that has an idea about something.
Of course.
Yeah. So when you read someone else's concept,
who you listen to.
Careful who you listen to. Absolutely.
Yeah, I learned that.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
But the simplicity is that lymphatic system is the sewer system, so all you have to do is find a way to pull that system open, or to open it by opening the kidneys, and the waste will be flushed out.
Absolutely.
You know?
And the one real hard thing that people are facing, of course, is that filtration issue you brought up.
That is the whole. That is because you can talk about the lymphatic system, and you can eat as many astringent fruits as you want, and that is the astringent foods that we have.
Yeah.
It is, the fruits.
But you think of years on protein diets, and see, the very diets they recommend are the very diets that are bringing us down.
High protein.
Here's an example. You would not give a cat a fruit diet, or you would kill them.
Yeah.
And you do not give apes and primates proteins, or they will die.
Right.
So we're
species-specific diets.
Exactly. We are way off in our dietary understanding. We think we are billy goats, or the humans are some type of omnivores, and then, of course, the pushing of high proteins, and that's the very thing that's killing people.
Yeah.
When you look at all the, like an example, Alzheimer's and the amyloid plaques and all the cancer cells, what you find are the chunks of proteins that people are eating, attaching to these cells, and then your immune response to that damage. And that's all you're seeing. And it's in the books, it's in everywhere. And they don't know how to look at that. They don't understand that.
If people could only see that the proteins that they're eating, the chunk of an animal muscle that they're eating, is a product that the animal made from amino acids. So no whole protein was ever something that your body could utilize without having to break it down first, creating all this waste.
Sure.
That is the burden of the kidneys.
Oh, big burden.
Right?
Big burden, because you have it all the way through. You have the burden from the stomach where the protein is ripping apart.
Rotting is rotting inside of you. Your intestine is supposed to carry out the fiber from the fruits, through this long path, really quick. And then you put down meat or any animal protein which has no fiber, it just sits there. It has no means of...
Well, when you look at the digestive tract of a true carnivore like a cat, it's not ringed like our GI tract, so it has... They're designed for minimum absorption. Our GI tract is designed for maximum absorption of nutrients. And the reason is when you're eating fruits and vegetables, you have all types of nutrition. When you're eating flesh tissue, there's not much nutrition. So a cat has very little absorption because putrefaction is real quick. You ever think about how fast you smell a fish after you pull it out of the water? That is putrefaction. And that putrefaction is toxic, acidic, and of course we start that process.
People smell.
Well, people smell. They smell
fart,
bad.
They smell, their breath, and like you said in class, and I've wondered about that, about the cat. How much do they sleep? The true carnivore.
Well, when you're talking strength and power, those that eat high proteins don't have it.
No.
I mean, the claws and the teeth are nice, but you can look at a primate can rip a lion apart, can play and have exercise all day long, where a cat sleeps 20 to 22 hours. Well, when you're in a 24-hour day, you have to sleep 20 to 22 hours because your food source doesn't give you the endurance and the vitality.
And then man is wondering why he's so tired and sick and has no energy.
Well, and let's look at the other sources of protein too. Grains and beans.
Yeah, true.
High phytic acid. Not only enzyme inhibitors, because they're dormant foods, they have high phytic acid. Phytic acid is
why did you think nature did that, right?
Well, think about this.
Enzyme inhibitors.
Enzyme inhibitors. And so the phytic acid comes in and blocks absorption. So you have the blocked absorption and enzyme inhibitors because it's not a consumable, viable food source.
Right there.
Good clue right there.
Good clue right
So
there.
you're eating foods on all levels when you get into proteins and the grains and that are undigestible.
Even the nuts.
Yeah, even the nuts have some phytic
and the
acid in
seeds,
them.
and they have some enzyme inhibitors.
They
That's
do.
why people are promoting them soaked.
You got to be real careful about the protein side of this life. You really do. And to prove that to yourself is just to do what you did. Get on the fruits and the berries and the melons and maybe the salads, and do that for a few months, and then go back to your proteins and see what happens.
That'll hurt.
Oh yeah.
Big time.
Oh yeah. Especially if you're in pain, and you know that, and I can attest to this. I have proven this to many people. Take yourself in pain.
Yeah.
Just what you're saying. Go on a raw diet. Pull that out a little bit, and then go eat you a protein meal in about a week, and see the difference in the pain levels and how you feel.
And even staying on a high protein raw green diet didn't do that much. And we're talking a healthy, presumed healthy diet with a lot of greens, because there's a lot of people promoting a lot of greens out there. And I'm not saying you shouldn't eat any greens, but when you are in pain or having an imbalance and you need to really dig into detoxification, you need to move to the fruits, berries, and melons, like Dr. Roberts Morris has been sitting here telling you for years.
I'm a horse lover, and of course we raised horses growing up, and we had farms, and we had all the other type of animals, of course. And I've always watched the eating habits of animals and stuff like this, and so I look at these beautiful wild stallions out west, and look at how beautiful. And if anybody is aware of a horse, you don't want to be stepped on, bit by, or kicked by them.
No.
And I've been all three. And it's like, they're painful as all get out. And these guys are big, powerful beings, right?
Yeah.
How do they get so strong just eating the grass on the prairie? And that's the point. But their digestive system and their chompers and the way they grind are totally different than the Homo sapien.
Yes.
We are eye for eye, primate-ish people.
Yes.
And we are islanders. National Geographic has said this over and over. They've dispelled the paleo thinkers. You have these images of cavemen and stuff. That's not where man came from. No. Man came from the islands.
Yeah.
And so when you understand that and you start to realize we are frugivores.
And once you try it.
Oh yeah, but you got to get the good fruit. I think that's where people get confused. They get this crappy fruit in the stores where they picked it unripe. When you pick fruit unripe, it's still in the nitrogen stages, so it is a little acidic.
Okay.
You want fruit that when you eat it, you have a smile from ear to ear.
And I like this topic. You know why?
Uh-huh.
Because I'm a Norwegian that lives in Norway most of the year. And people come to me and I said, I can't do that in the cold country. Well, I did it, Robert.
I know.
Even from Norway. So it can be done. It's still better than. You can never use that as an excuse, saying I can't find good fruit or I can't find this. Well, what I did is I went outside and I got myself a lot of the fresh herbs during summer. I got myself a lot of the northern countries are the best with berries.
Oh,
They're best with berries.
God,
and they have a lot of great fruit during the summer. So you can, as a second best, freeze it. Pick a lot of fresh during the summer and then freeze it. And then use the best you can from the supermarket. Get the organics if you can during the winter. Get the fruits and then blend in your frozen berries. There's nothing you can do. You can juice. Keep on juicing the whole winter. You can do that no matter what. It's never an excuse where you live today.
Absolutely.
Even though we should all be in that.
You got to keep warm, addicted to herbal teas or wrap up.
Right.
And
or
fix your
put
thyroid.
on some clothes. That's what I say. People say I'm so cold. How can you eat cold the whole winter? I say I wear clothes.
Get your thyroid working.
I wear clothes.
Exactly. Get your thyroid working.
That too. True. Now I walk barefoot in the snow.
Well, you know what, you can.
It's alkalizing. We know that. The cold you can use it to your advantage. You can use it as an alkalizing agent. Get outside, get barefoot in the winter, play with it. Get a little cold, go in, get warm. It's good for you,
you got pain cold packs.
Right, there you go.
You don't put heat on top of pain. You don't do that. That's
well, a lot of people do that.
They do, but it's acid on top of acid. You don't want that.
No.
That's acid on top of acid.
Right.
That's chemotherapy.
That's why the fruits are so cooling. We're talking cooling food,
Cooling food.
because everyone that's acidic is burning at some point. Even if you don't feel the inflammation on the outside, you're still burning because acid is burn.
Well, you can be hot and cold. In other words, you can be, and we see this all the time, where you feel like you're burning inside, but you're cold.
Yeah.
That's a thyroid weakness and high acidosis.
There you go. And we're always talking about these weaknesses. So, of course, when we speak like this, it's in general, because everybody has their own weakness that they carry with them. And that's why you promote the iridology, and we use the eyes.
Well, look how
because then you
simple.
can see the different
Look how simple that science is. Look how simple that the young ones are learning this.
I can see your whole life right in there.
And that's something you can see the genetic past, you can see the lymphs. See, what they don't understand, even with iridologists, is you can see the lymphatic system in the iris. When they get that and understand how to read the lymphatic system as we teach it, people are going, I get it, I see it, and there it is. When you go to medical and you have pain and they don't see anything, look at the eye and there it is.
Right, and lymphatic system is the reason that we see the eyes change color.
It is.
Because that's what shows us the haze and the color, you know. And my eyes have gone from, you know, they will turn blue, I know it, but they've gone from being they were very dark brown. When I look at pictures, they were very dark brown. You know?
Well, they're almost blue now because you got green and a little
I know,
bit
they're lightening up. They're getting lighter and lighter.
Yeah, and why wouldn't they? You know, because everything is energetic, right? Everything is energy, but everything manifests its frequency out to the world. The eyes just register frequency. Your nervous system registers frequencies. Your cerebellum, they all register frequencies. And that understanding is how cells move. Everything is frequencies. Well, then when you get into it spiritually, then everything is a state of consciousness. When you pull back to the whole, everything is this pure energy, and then everything is pure consciousness.
And that's about, you know, that's why we love the fruits, because it's the energy. I mean, you can kind of get into the vitamins and the minerals, but it really isn't about that. It never. It was never about that.
No vitamins and minerals.
No, it was never about that.
It was never about that.
No,
you know,
it was about taking away the obstruction. You know, so it's not about what we put in as much. That's why we need to stop looking at vitamins and minerals and creating supplements
We're
and taking things
symptoms.
apart.
Exactly.
Right.
We're treating symptoms.
Because we're looking at a lack and saying, oh, okay, I have a blood test here. You're missing selenium. Let's give you selenium.
Exactly.
For the last time. No.
Yeah.
And that's it. Well, because they're not considering this whole gigantic issue of how the body works.
Right.
Simple.
Right.
Digestion, absorption, utilization. You can't take supplements until you first digest, then you absorb, then you fix your glandular system, which is your adrenals, which utilizes most of your minerals for you. You need a steroid in the presence of the utilization of minerals, zinc, selenium, magnesium, but only the calcium needs the hormone from the parathyroid. So these are essential. So if you don't have good a hormone from the parathyroid or steroids from the adrenals, you lose.
Right.
There you go. So there's three places most people lose right there. So how can you treat until you fix these things? Then you might say, well, then maybe the soil was defeated. But we've never seen that, have we?
Because I don't think it's as much about that. How could people live on almost nothing?
Well, and you're going to have a less
the cleaner
deficiency.
you get, the
Well,
less
that's
you
it.
need, the
Well,
less
see,
you
that's
want.
it. The less you need.
Yeah.
Well, that's it. Because you're just in an energy transference anyway. And look at a tree. It's going to be the least place you're going to see deficient because the roots are looking for food all over the place. You're going to see less deficient in fruits than you are vegetables.
And when everything is energy, then just from soaking in the sun and breathing the air and hugging a tree, you're getting nurtured.
You're getting totally nurtured because when you breathe in, you're breathing your
nurturement is nutrition. We have kind of broken it down with the mental, but it's all connected energetically.
Sure. Well, think about this. When you breathe in, you're breathing in carbon, right? Well, carbon, what's carbon? Carbohydrates are carbon. When you're breathing in nitrogen, nitrogen is kind of dominant. That's amino acids. And you're breathing in your fats, your hydrogen. So you're breathing in all these universal elements that form, in a lower sense, your product, your produces. But from a higher sense, it's air. And then from a higher sense, it's prana, the life force or spirit. And then from a higher sense, it's God. So when you're starting to look how it all manifests into these physical worlds, it's interesting and a lot of fun there too.
I know, and it's freedom. Everything we're talking about here is actually freedom. That's where everything leads to. It's the empowerment of the self, and the empowerment of the idea that you can actually change your life and your reality and the way that you perceive your life.
Totally. Look at how, if you think about this, how food has enslaved man. It's enslaved him. It's created bizarre things like medical thinking and stuff like this, which is bizarre. Doesn't, it's way out there.
It has labels.
It has labels. It's stuck on genetics. Matter of fact, one medical doctor told a client that he couldn't detox because he didn't have the gene was missing for detoxification. It's like,
Many people think that.
Yeah, I know. So when you play in those fields of dreams, you're delusional. Yeah. And these people just put fear in others, and that's their gig. So we have to eliminate that sort of thinking, because that doesn't hold any truth whatsoever. We have to understand that each and every one of your listeners have the power to regenerate their own bodies. All they have to do is understand what you're teaching and how to simply turn it around.
Yeah.
It's off again.
No.
No?
No.
Okay.
But yeah, I think we covered, most of what we wanted. The book.
The book.
Yeah.
Well,
it's called From Hell to Inspired. And I was thinking about this title, but I actually think that a lot of people today, they have the feeling that they live in hell. It's a perceived,
I love the
self-perceived.
Title. I love the title, because when I first met you, you were literally in hell. That's the thing. You were literally in hell, and I just I'm a compassionate guy. My heart went out to you, and it's just that when you're frozen and decaying down, people just don't understand the acid side of chemistry, and there's only two sides to chemistry to understand. You couldn't have anything more simple. I mean, no one understands the complexity of God. You can't even go there, because there's nanos, sub-nanos that we don't even, But the simplicity of the totality of life and how it interfaces is easy to understand. And when you do, then you pull yourself out of hell and you find yourself in the heavens.
I know.
And
that is the choice, because the place that I'm at now cannot even be compared to before I got into this.
I know.
The bliss, it's so worth it. And if you think it takes a long time, people come to me and ask me, well, I have this and this, how long is it going to take? How long is it going to take? Right now, actually, I say, 5 years. Just to kind of set the protocol right. People have to understand that this is a choice of life. This is not treating or getting symptoms to go away, because when you want symptoms to go away, you're actually telling your body that you don't love it the way it is. You're trying to kind of push away something, saying, I don't want you, instead of listening to it and embracing it and taking in everything. Because it doesn't have to do only with the food. It has to do with the spirit. It's a spiritual journey.
It is.
More than anything. The food is simply a means of getting there and an aid that we all need. It's a part that has to be there, but it will be there naturally.
Well, a lot of people don't know how to take the word spirituality, but think about this: as we have become so, as a race, so frozen in our thinking and in our spirituality, and religions are so frozen, and they block man's ability to understand the all of God. And so we call this obstructions. We're obstructed physically with all the acids and the mucus. We're obstructed emotionally with all the desires and longings that people have. We're obstructed mentally with all the academics and the mental things. So we lack the understanding of who we are in the context of using our mind and using our emotions and using our physical body to experience life. And when you tie yourself to your thoughts and you tie yourself to your emotions and you tie yourself to the human body, you've lost your spirituality.
And we use it as an escape now.
It is. It's an escape.
To feel or to listen.
Well, people then escape deeper into the television or into the world of computers sports, and keeps pulling themselves drama. So you keep losing yourself in your attention. Pull back from that. Relax. Start observing things instead of thinking all the time. Give yourself some freedom to break away.
Yeah, very true. And I have a lot of people ask me about dry fasting. It's been a topic right now. It's very popular, and I love it. I love it because we're taking it to another level.
I pull everybody to your site for dry fasting.
Well, thank you. But we're taking it. It's like we're taking it to another level. Yes. It has another level, on many levels. I was going to say because it has to do with trust. It has to do with an even wider understanding of what the body can do when you stop putting anything in. Because what I see with juice fasting or water fasting is you are letting the digestion rest, right? You're not putting anything in. So there is the big benefit from that, what the body can do when it doesn't have to digest food. That's what we've been talking about.
The key.
But if you go to the dry fasting, it's like you're squeezing your body like a sponge.
That body.
So it's even squeezing bacteria and things that's not supposed to be inside the cell. So if you think about, if you have a sponge, then you can't put anything more into the sponge. But once you squeeze it, and then you start refeeding, and you can put new water,
Sure.
into the sponge. And I also look at all the salvia that we produce. That water gets to play a bigger part inside the body when you're on a dry fast.
Absolutely.
And you stop putting it from the
absolutely.
outside.
Absolutely.
Now here's the thing that I found in using it in this protocol, which Dr. Robert Morse teaches, is that when I go on the herbs and the fruits, I get a lot of pulling the acids out from wherever it's been hiding. And then when I put the dry fasting into the protocol, I do actually 48 hours every week now. But say you did one day every Sunday, 24 hours dry fast. I have not seen anything that will kick open the kidneys, in such an instant.
That's amazing.
And then you get that out. And then come Monday, you go back on your fruits, berries, and melons and your herbs. So you get also the day of the week where you can rest from everything, the herbs, everything. And then just, be with yourself.
Absolutely.
And me being raw for 8 years, I've been high fruit for 4 years on all the herbs, and I feel amazing. And I did this 4-day dry fast. And the day after, I
was going to show them some pictures of
Yeah,
all the stuff you got out of you in your urine. I mean, it was like, what did you do? Go in with some shovels and dig this out? I mean,
right, that's the kidneys.
Oh,
but what about the worm that came crawling out of my back end?
Well, you know what's amazing?
You can go to my site to see a picture. I could show you here, but
that all this time it was still in you all this time,
and it was living. And I think, okay, so that's the interesting. I'm holding it in my hand and it's wiggling. It's a footer, a scaries, no doubt, roundworm.
Yep.
I've been parasite cleansing for years, long before this. When I was on the green. This shows me one thing. Okay, I've been killing, and you see people that get that stuff out. But what happened right now? The culturing medium, like you call it. This worm.
I wonder where he was.
He could not stand being in me anymore.
Oh yeah.
He fled.
Out of
the crime scene. He
did.
He wanted out. And he wanted out so much that I read that they mostly reside at the top of the small bowel, the top of the small intestines where they live.
That's all the way through.
That is all the way through. This big fella.
Yeah. I had a lady get out a 13-inch one too. Same thing. And all she did is go in raw. Came out alive. She brought it to me alive.
To see how acidic I was for so long. But right now, I'm pretty proud. I'm thinking, okay, I got to the point where they don't want to be in me.
How do you feed them? I wanted to keep this one alive, and you should have tried to keep it alive. Why do you feed them?
I know.
I didn't know what to feed them.
Cheese doodles. Oh, cheese doodles, milk. No, just kidding. Anything,
oh my
nice
God.
and gooey like that.
Tell you what, my sister got 3 large tapeworms out of her with heads this big.
Wow.
She had them in about 40, 50 years.
It can be scary. I mean, people out there, I can understand you can easily freak out. But, think of it this way. Everybody has parasites today. It's not, you're not that special if you have one. Yeah. I'm not that special. What? Actually, I'm not special at all.
Oh, stop.
It's very, very common.
Very common.
The special thing is to actually get it out. I mean, that's what makes it a little special. Not that
really
we kind of have it.
I think it's liked you for a while. I wonder if it has babies or anything.
Stop it. They came first.
It's possible. I don't know.
Always take out the babies first.
I don't know. I tell you, this show, Monsters Within You on Discovery Channel, is really good because it's just beginning to wake up the parasitic world. Because parasitology departments around the world were kind of shutting down a little bit. Not a lot of activity, especially Americans. Americans are so. I had an American 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄 client that was getting tapes, pins, rounds.
And
she was getting everything out.
Yeah.
And she was drawing what she was seeing. She was only like 19 years old. The ER doc told her, parents took her to the emergency room. The ER doc told her, said, there's no such thing as parasites in humans.
Right.
It's like, are
Isn't
you
that
serious?
Isn't that amazing?
That level of ignorance is unacceptable. When
I
you're
had a
in that
stool test
level.
done. No parasites.
No, funny.
And you should have seen what I dumped after that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
You know what?
So they're everywhere. People are, okay, so parasites. You're thinking, okay, I must be getting... No. You pet your cat or your dog, parasites. You pick in the... you put your hands in the soil, parasites. So it's all about the environment, because the parasites are everywhere. They're not going anywhere. It's, the whole thing is about if they're, happy inside you or not.
Well, most hunters will confirm the fact that most animals do have worms that live symbiotically with the host. So it's possible.
That's all we are, bacterium. Yeah. That's all we are living,
But it's also what we culture in terms of our food we're burning. When you burn proteins and meats and things, that's a whole different call of the wild. These brings the Paleolithic or protein splitters in.
Yeah.
And protein splitter microbes and bigger boys aren't as friendly as the other ones.
I know.
Fungus is a lot better.
And once they get too many of one species, then you kind of, there's not a balance anymore, and that's what we see with the candida and everything. There's always going to be candida in the body.
Always.
But we're talking about overgrowth. So it's always when it's imbalanced. That's when you get into trouble.
Well, look at man loves fermented foods. He ferments his foods because he doesn't digest
I know,
properly.
a lot of people do that.
He consumes complex carbs, which is your starches. He loves those, which is way too much sugar than the body can eat. We love our proteins, which is way too much amino acids, complex stuff. So we have all this complex food that we eat, most of it leaving gnarly residues, a lot of mucus from the mucosa because the body's going, this is foreign protein to the Homo sapien. So you get into all these levels and you see all the garbage from all the mucus in people, like you said, all the actions. Like people worry about H. pylori or E. coli and things. It's like, we're promoting the medium for it. You can't bitch when you start eating dead animals and all that nasty medium that you're building up in the body. This is putrefaction at its best.
If you're walking around like a hotel inviting everything in, that's what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Exactly. I call them uninvited guests. Right.
You come in and you might not never leave.
Is that what it is? Yeah, I know, and that's what I'm experiencing right now.
Sure.
I'm just this little dried out hotel. It doesn't, there's no vacancies. You're
a lot more hydrated than you were, and that's a good point. What you said is that proteins causes dehydration. Acid is the dehydration issue. When you study acidosis, get a chemistry book and understand the nature of acids versus the natures of bases. And so when you get into acids, they create a cationic environment, which is simply an environment of dehydration, coagulation, and agglomeration. It means everything starts to dry out. You get stiff and hard. Everything starts to get hard.
So people think they want to hydrate, so drink more water.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah,
so that's a misconception.
It is a misconception.
You think you drink more and you get more. Actually, through dry fasting, I have been getting more and more hydrated even.
Well, when you take a look at how animals, when they're in trouble in the wild, do, I'm not sure they always find water. I think you'll find more dry fasting there than you do the water fasting.
Much more.
Like you do. And it's almost like that little bit of dry fasting just allows the body systemically to put all its energy toward elimination.
Yeah.
The mistake people make is the fact that they think their bodies are not intelligent, that the cells that make it up are not intelligent. And each cell, and you have 50 to 100 trillion, are little people.
Right.
They have minds, they have
people,
emotions.
Actually.
They are little people. They are. And you got to respect every cell you got in there. They make up every department.
Yeah, they do.
And you got two fluids that take care of them.
Yeah.
And that's what we have to understand, the two fluids that take care of them. Well, you said all these acids in these dark corners. Well, there are spaces around every cell in your body, spaces, even bone, spaces. And that's how we can get your nutrition to the cell, but also how we can take their byproducts from burning that nutrition away from them. And that's interstitial spaces, right? And you have miles of this hidden deep in everywhere within
and that's
tissue.
where you're dehydrated also.
How are you going to
you can't drink juices or water and get hydrated interstitially. You have to take out what is keeping you dehydrated.
You do. And you have to bring in this alkaline chemistry, this ionizing chemistry, because that's essential. You have to bring in base chemistry to deal with dehydration, because dehydration is an acid experience. You can't live on the acid side of the fence and hydrate or anything like that because it dictates the opposite experience.
Right.
Again, you go right back to the base side. Fruits, berries, melons.
Yeah, I know.
Salads if you think you're a horse or an elephant, of course.
Well, or unicorn.
Or unicorn.
Yeah, you could do that.
I don't know. I think unicorns like sugar cubes and apples and
depends what color it
carrots.
Yeah, well, but the thing is that people think that they have to. Well, actually, you have to drink less the more hydrated you are. That's what I've found.
Well, it is because
I crave less fluids the more hydrated I get, of course. So the more people are dehydrated, they'll get thirsty. They'll be
100%.
thirsty the whole time.
100%.
Right? Yeah.
Trying to hydrate. And the problem with that, then you bring in that osmotic edema. Because when you're highly acidic, that's what's going to happen.
Yeah.
Water's going to be osmotically pulled into these dense acid areas, and you're going to see the swelling and bloating of that area.
Yeah.
Whether it's a heart, it's congestive heart failure, lungs, pulmonary edema, the ankle swell on people. This is all kidney failure. This is all the inability of the body to remove acids, and the body's the effect of that. Your cholesterols, your calciums are pulled out of you, like you've seen in your case.
Yeah.
And you see your limbs.
Oh, and my swelling, and my swelling. I get everything.
Swelling. Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, it's in the book.
Classic, you had the classic symptomology of acidosis, but you had modalities out there that can't recognize that. How sad is that?
Yeah, I know.
Sad stuff.
Almost killed me.
I know.
Almost killed me.
The vitalness of what we're doing here is, all I've got to say is bringing your self-empowerment back, bringing your simple understanding of the two sides of chemistry and the fact that your body has a sewer system in it, the lymphatic system, that it is essential that you know. Yeah. Who cares if no one else knows it? It's essential that you do. Then you'll know how to get your body well at any given time. And when you have a pain or a symptom, you go, oh, that's acidosis. I know how to fix that.
Yeah, and you are in charge of that.
Exactly.
And it is,
You're in charge of your own body.
And a lot of people struggling with family and friends on that, because they might feel or know that that it's their responsibility, but they feel disempowered by family members that don't believe in it, or that they are the only one drinking a smoothie when everybody else is eating lamb. Well, the thing is, when you take back your power, we're talking about you. It doesn't matter what anybody else does or says. It is a part of the process. It is not something that you go on that everybody else jumps on and just, cheers you on your way and puts things in front of you. I think that's part of the empowerment, is to be able to stand in this and do it for yourself, because you are worth it.
Absolutely.
It comes back to the self-love and knowing that you are worthy of a wonderful life.
Well, that's it. People are so in hell
Right.
that they lose their worthiness, their self-love, like you said.
Yeah.
And the point is that you're the only one running your machine. You're the only one using this body to drive you
Cause
around.
and effect. You're going to be the one laying if it doesn't work.
Exactly. People just have to simply understand life is in physics.
You're the one in bed if it doesn't, if you get too sick. Exactly. It's not your neighbor, it's not your husband, it's not your colleagues, and it's not your father.
Right.
Jesus
said, you reap what you sow. Buddha said karma, right? Physics says for every action, or Newton,
there's a reaction. And Dr. Moore says cause and effect. He says cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect, cause and effect.
So when you understand these are natural laws that rule everything, then you say, okay, why am I suffering? What did I do to create this suffering? Well, then you have to look into the world of chemistry, because you are immersed in it.
And what can I do to reverse it?
What can I do to reverse it?
You can learn what to do, you can see it, and when you know it, you can try to unknow it, but you can't. Now comes the challenge for man. How to do it, even when they know it. Right?
Yeah.
And that's the empowerment.
Well, just you realize our minds are, you hand over your mind to the society you live in, to your parents, to your churches or synagogues or whatever. You're handing over your brain or your mind to them. And what they do is governments and societies condition it to their way of thinking. You read a book, you can condition yourself to that way of thinking. The problem is this all material things. These are other people's ideas. This is society and how it creates socialism and how it pulls you into the social order. Well, that makes for order and everything else, but you lose your individuality. You lose your sense of freedom for socialism.
Oh, freedom, yeah.
Exactly. God didn't create socialism, man is. God created individuality and freedom.
Freedom is so personal.
So personal.
Freedom is a personal thing. It's only between you and you and you and God and you and you. That's all freedom really is.
It is.
Because everything you feel as an imprisonment in this physical life is really just an illusion.
Well, it's
is only a perceivement, how you choose to perceive it.
About the body itself.
Right.
I mean, from one perspective, it's a living, breathing organism physically. It has cells, it has a nervous system that responds, it has 5 senses. But if you take the consciousness out of it, it's a computer.
Yeah.
It's a food processing machine. So who's the intelligence that is using the body that's allowing it to move it by desire and thought? And that's you.
Okay.
Well, that's pulling you back to the real you. Well, it's hard to understand that you're not really here. You're only using your body through your attention. When you understand that your body is even a slave, that it's enslaving your attention, when you let that go and pull away from your physical body, you're have a freedom of a far different level. A lot of people have called these out-of-body experiences, but it's simply shifting your attention away from the physical body and putting it in your next body, which is your emotional body. And it's simply learning how to be free, enjoying life, but not having life pull you down into these earthly worlds.
Yeah, and you can use that understanding that you're talking about to even feel the freedom and the empowerment when your physical body is not feeling well. When you're in pain and you feel disempowered, you can still pull back from that and know that you are whole and that you are you.
Right.
You are not your body, and your body is very fixable. And
it's
you
like
can
a
do
car.
it. That's the message that I want to get,
And
across
it's a
to
good
people.
message, because here's the thing.
I want people to know that they can do this.
They can, but here's the other thing. Now, remember, when you're going through these things, Hilde brought up a good example. It's a good analogy. Let's say your car's really been in a bad wreck. Well, you take a look at most human bodies. They're in a bad wreck. All the acids from all the wrong foods and all the medications trying to treat the symptoms from eating the wrong foods. So the hell that you're talking about here, some people are living in these dark little shelters. And so that's like having an automobile that's been in a bad traffic accident and it's banged up all over the place. Some of the tissue's ripped out of it, some of the parts are off of it. So you take it into the body shop. Well, you start working on it. You sand it down, you fix it up. So sometimes when you start detoxification, your body doesn't look perfect, because you're cleaning, and those things that are weak in your body fall off. Remember, your toenails fell off. This is natural things. Nature gets rid of those things that are weak and replaces with them much stronger. So your car might not look perfect until we put that last final paint on it, and now you've got a new car. It is full of power, it's full of energy, and you have the freedom to control it and drive it, because now you know that you're the driver of that car.
I know. And you have to just get out of the medical thinking that there is a pill that's going to fix a symptom. This is a road that you have to go down that's going to take time, and it's going to take, persistence. And like Robert says, you're going to run into sometimes really freaky symptoms. I had most of my hair fall out, and it was long and beautiful, and it was freaking me out. Like a woman, I think that's probably what. That freaked me out more than thinking my heart was going to stop.
I bet.
That's how you live.
It's not good for a woman.
No, it isn't good, and there was almost nothing left, and I cut it myself. It was all the way down my waist. I cut it all the way up here, just in the bathroom. Just had to get rid of the rest.
Oh wow!
Wow. And all these curls weren't there then. It's like my hair now is a totally different hair, because it comes from healthy cells.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you just have to keep that faith. But if you're really acidic and you need to work through this, I strongly recommend that you get someone to work with you, because it can be very scary, and I don't think it's the right thing to say that just go on detox and all detox symptoms and it can't hurt you. I definitely think it can. If your eliminating organs are all backed up and you're not eliminating anything and you're stirring up all those acids, you can get some symptoms that are just kind of overburdening to your body, because you're still holding on to all those acids. They're just moving around and they can burn you. So, but still, you don't have to go to all this high-end practitioners. There are books you can read and YouTube videos. Robert Morris has a lot of videos. I have more with him on my website, and you can read his book and you can read my book. And I have a new book coming out, Know the Truth and Get Healthy.
We have the 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄 people. The 𝐅𝐑𝐄𝐄 groups. We have all the Costa Rica. We have all kinds of things in the world.
There are nothing that has to stop you. I did this from my bed. Today we need a computer. I think that's probably, you probably wouldn't see this if you didn't have a computer.
I think you said something a minute ago, and it reminded me of something that I think the mistake people make is that when you treat a symptom and the symptom disappears, you're curing the problem.
Right, because you think that health is
I think that's
the same as not feeling a
biggest
symptom.
mistake, exactly. Right. And I think that's the biggest mistake people think, particularly initially on steroids and stuff.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest mistake you can think, is that when you take something and the symptom's gone, you've cured it. And I think the average person is realizing that, say, if you take blood pressure medications, you're not curing the cause of it. You're controlling your blood pressure through chemistry. The cause is still there, and the reason the cause is there is still there, you. And so nothing's changed.
You didn't change the cause.
No. So under that control, under that sky of chemical control, things are getting worse and worse and worse and worse. You just don't know it.
And that's what I experienced. From being very inflamed, they put prednisone, which is steroids, into me, IV, into my veins. Anxiety, my adrenals shut down. I was on medications for almost 4 years and brought all the nasties. And when I stopped with those medications, I really got to see how sick I was. I mean, it was like this truck was hitting me from behind. I was almost dead. That's how sick I was. But my symptoms were very much under control, and everybody was so happy I was responding so well to the medication. You know, when it comes to inflammation, the thing was I was falling apart. All my organs and my glands were falling apart, and I could feel that. But my joints were fine, so the medical society was happy with the results.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And then I stopped, and then I got to see how sick I was. And that made me an even bigger believer, because after that, I didn't take even an aspirin. I didn't take an Advil. I didn't take one single type of chemical medication or pill, because I treasured that I could actually feel what my body's signals were and how, in what state it was. You know, that there's a great value in that. If you lose track of that, then how are you going to communicate with your body? You're shutting it down, saying, I don't want to listen to you. That is not very friendly.
No, not at all.
And that is not self-love.
Now, I've said
but it is a conditioning. I mean, for God's sakes, a lot of people are in crucial pain, and I do understand that some people, and at some point of time in life, we need to, you know, intake something just to get through.
Well, yeah, but, you know, you have to realize what you suppress today is your nightmare from hell tomorrow. And the thing with botanicals is, use botanicals if you have to treat your symptoms.
Very good.
Use botanicals to do it. Because there's anti-inflammatories, there's everything, or antacid. Anti-inflammatory is simply an antacid.
And they're friendly to the body.
They're friendly to the body. They come packing with all their brothers and sisters.
They are our gifts from nature.
They are. You know, God created the body and divided up in systems, and the herbs are for systems in the body. For specific cells. I mean, you can't have a pharmacopoeia as beautiful and non-invasive and works with the cells in the body like botanicals. Man can't create anything like that, nor needs to even mess with that.
No, we
it's
can't
already
create
done.
anything
that's
better than nature.
Exactly.
And that's what we're trying to do, and that's how we get in trouble.
Well, look at the time people waste in that instead of doing other things. You know, think of how much time look at how much effort and time you've had to put into the physical to get your body turned around. And that shouldn't be. That's all these years of suffering everything. So what were you on the rock for? You know, what do you come here for? And that's the problem. We need to give a better experience for those souls that are coming to the planet. And that's why it's important that everyone infuse their friends and their neighbors with this higher understanding of regenerative detoxification. Simply, you're cleaning out what's been stored in there, all the mucus and the proteins, which are the acids and stuff, and you're rebuilding those tissues. And whether it's livers, hearts, anything, your body can rebuild anything. Neurologically, you can rebuild. Look at all the MS and stuff we pull out of wheelchairs. Look at the guy that fell out of the sky, was at the class.
Yes.
His parachute didn't open.
I love
hit
that
the
name.
I can't help it. Hit the ground or hit the water at 80 mile an hour and stuff. This guy rebuilt himself. I only had him about 2 years, paralyzed. I rebuilt him. It shows the level that the body can regenerate on, but you don't regenerate two sides of chemistry. You don't regenerate on the acid side of chemistry. Chemistry will tell you that acids are corrosive.
I know.
So in a corrosive medium, how could you regenerate tissue? Because corrosive means deterioration. So it's just simple to understand. It's in the books. It's just you don't know how to look when you're always reading everybody's book. When you read a book like yours, it's inspirational.
I was going to say, it's to get inspired.
It's inspirational.
To take your power back.
But it does speak truth to the techniques of getting well.
I know. But and also we talk about acids and base or alkalinity. And for some people, I can understand that even that can be confusing, and you know, so you can take it even simpler. That's what I'm thinking. You can go and only look at nature and see, okay, what are we supposed to eat?
Well, you can go
And then just
monkey,
eat that.
horse, or what does the
You can
body
do
design
as simple
look?
as that. You don't have to
Exactly.
understand
Right.
anything.
Right.
You just
don't.
eat what you're supposed to eat.
But you
and-
don't know that, though. See, that's one of
Yeah.
the problems
Yeah.
is unless someone tells you.
But now they know. Now
Well,
we're-
because they've lost the Homo sapien, the human on this planet has lost intuitiveness big time.
I know.
So a good example of
it comes
this,
back though, luckily.
It comes back.
It comes back.
It comes back.
Yeah.
You know, and we've said this many times. Intuitively, the most intuitive are going to be the younger people.
Oh yeah.
Because as you get older, your mind is really
The children, they know
Oh, they know
everything.
exactly.
And we put them in all these, boxes instead of listening to them. I listen to them now. Listen to them. They know.
Absolutely.
They know.
Absolutely.
Just
These are-
ask them what they want and they will tell you.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But they're not going to, if you put a big table of food out and you had vegetables at one end and fruit at another, and you went to a grade school and you opened up the lunchroom, I can tell you where the
Where
kids
they're
are going to go.
Oh yeah.
You know, the vegetables, I think I'll pass.
Yeah, fruits.
I think, remember they always saying, eat your vegetables, Johnny.
Yeah.
You know, and that's
Yeah.
the problem is,
Yeah.
no, they're good for the horse. I want
Yeah.
the fruit.
Yeah.
You know, and so, but it's just man waking up to his true nature. And but it's the way creation was ran, that we lost ourselves to find ourselves. So hopefully the humans will start re-looking at the true needs of the human for their health.
I think they will. You know
I do
why?
too.
Because they are so sick of suffering. And I
Okay.
think that is what's going to change
That's
this.
the point.
There's so much pain out
No.
No more junk.
there. No more junk. And should we just leave it with this?
Yes.
Thank you so much for watching. And we'll be back.
We'll be back. Bye-bye.
Bye.